Shalom, shalom, everybody. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome to Reading with SHILO. Welcome to Reading with SHILO. Facebook, I know it's been a while, but we back. We back with the next edition of Reading with SHILO. We just got finished reading it. Now we're going to move over to her next book. The next book on the list. The Urban Survival for the Years to Come by Miss Shahrazad Ali. The Urban Survival for the Years to Come by Miss Shahrazad Ali. It's the next book on the list, man. So we're gonna see what she got to offer. We're gonna see what she got to offer in this book. I need to go ahead and see a regular time, but we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So she says, let's read it. Let's look at the cover. Let's look at the cover, front and the back. So the front says, "How will we, the descendants of slaves, survive under the stress of the new administration? Urban survival for the years to come. We have no plan, no control, no money, and no unity. What will we do?" Let's read the back. The time and what must be done. Get into it. The time and what must be done to avoid disaster. Read and study how to handle the hard times coming our way. Learn how to stock food and water. Have light and heat. Communicate and stay well. Be safe from danger. Dispose of human waste. Protect your family and keep your sanity. Prepare to do for self. Sounds like what everybody been having to go through and needing to learn through all these lockdowns and all this other stuff. Prepare to do for self. There is no special provisions for us. We are the most at risk. Time for talk is over. This book is our plan B. Let's see what she's talking about. We're gonna go to chapter 1. In chapter 1, there's a lot of different sections that we're gonna hit. Chapter 1 will be the urban survival in the hood, your location, legal paperwork, get your house in order, escape, back to Africa choice, and transportation methods. All right. So I got my dictionary, pen, highlighters. We're gonna see what's going down up here, man. We're gonna see what Miss Ali talking about, man. And it's not that big of a book. It's not that big of a book. So we'll see. Let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome, welcome. Introduction. As some may remember, I originally wrote this book to address the destructive potential of the Y2K computer problem. Let me see. This book was copyrighted in 1999. So I remember Mr. Y2K. The Y2K computer problem. Y2K stands for the year 2000, which began midnight December of 1999. The potential computer glitch problem was said to be a worldwide incident that promised to disrupt the entire civilized world. While reportedly there were a few technical problems, the entire system did not go down and life has proceeded as usual. The majority of the cynical, disbelieving American public complains of work, sport, and play. Others of us got busy preparing for the cataclysmic event and purchase, gathered, and studied how to survive when it all hit the fan. Most of us discuss on some level how this double evil society cannot exist forever. So we're always on the lookout for signs that the end is near so we can get ready. Us, special few, commence to prepare. Sales of canned goods, water purifiers, extra blankets and candles soared. The busy got busier getting their heads in order to ward off the sure discomfort of living without most local, state, and federal conveniences. Poor system or being uncomfortable on any level for any extended period of time. Shit. Hey, people being people being stuck in their house showed that. People being stuck in their house showed that. Well, man, I'm gonna ask y'all to bear with me. I'm trying to hold off for YouTube as well. All the generations are fast and expect speed in all transactions 24/7. This could be some kind of infectious, impatient, or merely sheer selfishness and overt assumptions of self-importance because we want everything now, right now. Far be it from us that we should prepare for hard times. Far be it from us that we should prepare for hard times. You should. We need to prepare for the hard times the same way Joseph prepared for the 7 years of famine during the 7 years of plenty. We figure we've been through the worst. What the hell else could happen? A lot, a whole lot. Perhaps we are also living under the misunderstanding that we'll always be taken care of by our open enemy. We unemployed, uninsured, unrecognizable, and unhappy, but seemingly don't know what to do about it. What are we prepared for? Inclement weather, hunger, water contamination, power failure, disease, or civil war? Disease. Civil war is next. Not even counting flood, tornado, hurricane, dust storm, and snow. We have a new opportunity to exert our solidarity and do something for self at the same time. This is no march on the street idea. This is a series of suggestions that may not only save our lives, but inject new confidence in our ability to respond, currently lacking. All of us don't have health care or life insurance, but we can all play it forward by being prepared for the day of want. Our recent history is not a good one. Our adults and children are forced to watch the wanton murder of our family members in the streets all over the country. For older Blacks, it's like somebody turned back the clock and we are subject to attack day and night, like back in the old Jim Crow days, when the enemy's gangs would terrorize our communities, randomly killing us at will and rarely being convicted of anything. The feeling of being unprotected and prey for any demon with an evil eye is unknown to younger Blacks, millennials, because they have been slightly brainwashed from preschool, Head Start, that we are all the same. Color doesn't matter. And it's better to forget about the past. The future is what it is today. Their particular focus is grounded in the school to prison pipeline, which is a catch-all for every Black student who is repeatedly disruptive in class, combative to the teacher, and has a hooky playing history. Many students have made open agreements with privately owned prisons. Many states, not students. Many states have made open agreements. Many states have made open agreements with privately owned prisons, jails, that they will help with fulfillment. These private owners or corporations demand a 90 to 95% occupancy rate, and the candidates are usually gathered from the surrounding communities from males to females. Our schools are undeniably unproductive. That's key for me. Our schools are undeniably unproductive in their teaching techniques used to educate children or youth who come from broken homes, guardian homes, and no homes. It doesn't enter their minds that one day we could have a real food shortage. Ain't this what they talking about now? And this was in 99. She wrote this back in 99. It doesn't enter their minds that one day we could have a real food shortage. The government is rumbling now that it's a real possibility that the food stamps or SNAP program is near its end because of fraud. The people who steal the most are always charging others with stealing. Nevertheless, the end of the food stamp program is near, and we have to develop new disciplines to address the nationwide withdrawal from not being able to binge on food stamp goodies. Free food is going to end. Free food is going to end. Oh, yes, it is. Free food is going to end. And we ought to be ready to handle not only the reduction of food, but the limited choices we'll have when forced to pay cash. Our children raised on cheap fast food are not ready to handle the reduction in calories or availability of food. We have to start talking to them about famine, because no matter how improbable it looks, we have to start talking to them about famine. Famine. Let's look that up. Let's look at the word famine. For those that don't know, let's look at the word famine. What's up, my boy?
Where's that famine?
Yes, sir. Famine, famine, famine. Let's look at the word famine. Famine. Calm down, man. Famine, Famine. Extreme scarcity of food, starvation. Famine, extreme scarcity of food or starvation. We have to start talking to our children about extreme scarcity of food or starvation or famine, because no matter how improbable it looks, we may possibly have to defy the ugly head of famine and want. This is to visit on every continent at various times. We are not exempt from any disasters, natural or unnatural. Being unprepared leads to panic, and panic leads to hysterical wrong choices. Let this not be us. Let us consider and look at alternative ways to survive. What's up? We have exposed our children to so many material things manufactured by the enemy and others from overseas. No, I'm over here, I'm right here. We want all of the stuff offered to us, especially all the technology. The downside of technology, such as the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., and there's so many more these days. TikTok, what else? Shit, I don't know. TikTok is the only other one outside of that. TikTok.
Yes.
Etc., has become a huge problem in our communications of all kinds. Here, I need your finger. Where? And the popularized cell phones are promoting our demise. These items are expensive, has a cost that never ends, and plays a crucial part in our personal relationships. The worst part of all of this, that they are addicted, so they too will have to be addressed regarding withdrawal, because if there is no power anywhere, no phone can be charged, no games can be played unless you are prepared. 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 There you go. Lately, we are all consumed with the election and mainly the unknown territory to be explored by the new president-elect. We're not ready to admit, yes, sir, that's what we are. We're not ready to admit it, but the majority of the terrible things that have happened to us over the past 8 years prove that each president is just like the former one. We have not fared well under any of them. Yes, we have killed some more than others. Yes, we have liked some more than others, but they have all performed the same when it comes to us. Government-led solutions have failed repeatedly in floods, tornadoes, and hurricanes. Well, move then. You either sit still or move. People are left disappointed because they counted on someone else instead of self. People are left disappointed because they counted on someone else instead of self. The directions in this book do not require any coming together, just doing for self and family, quietly and steadily. Give me my dictionary. You can get in one of the other books. You get one of the other books and read. You're not using my dictionary, son. The day of want is approaching fast, and no amount of pity will be given out when the time is appointed. Get ready so you'll be ready. That's the introduction. There's a lot of things in that already. Get ready. Get ready so you'll be ready. Get ready so you'll be ready. Take heed to the warnings. Take heed to the warnings. Chapter 1, Urban Survival in the Hood. City dwellers. If the country goes into the calamity state, it will double the problems we already have in the hood. If the country goes into a calamity state, it will double the problems we already have in the hood. Our entrenched history of fighting and killing each other when we have disagreements, are jealous of each other, have new items or relationship issues, will explode against each other. The cultural and educational level of each community will determine how violent or savage our behavior becomes. The cultural and educational level of each community will determine how violent or savage our behavior becomes, and how quickly it gets that way. We will most certainly be confined to our particular areas. Just like during Katrina in New Orleans, many blacks reported that the enemy used high-powered rifles to keep them isolated in certain areas, to keep them from leaving their compounds to search other areas for food and water. Desperation drives borderline personalities to do irrational things that they ordinarily wouldn't do. Take stock of your own home area. Take stock of your own home area. Define where the power lines are, outdoor faucets and drain systems. Check out your garages and sheds. You may have to live in them for a few days. Garages and sheds are easier to protect due to size. More on this later. Garages and sheds are easier to protect due to size. How many of you single sisters with no cover and no hedge is prepared for what's to come and prepared for the violent or savage behaviors that can happen? How many of you men are prepared for that? Your children, you have to protect them. Shit, it's a lot to think on. Most of us have too much junk in our basements and garages. We have purchased way more than we'll ever wear or use. Now is the time to start purging and separate the items which can be used for survival or trade for something else you may need. Check the windows of your house if it's your best fort. Make sure they can be boarded up easily. Keep hammers, nails, and some kind of boards in your basement or garage. Consider fencing your yard or part of it. If you live in an apartment or condo, your situation will be different. If possible, hole up in your apartment and bar the door best you can. Apartments tend to have one door for in and out and windows up off the ground. These are two advantages over a house. Apartments offer an opportunity to bond with other like families to build safety in numbers. All right. Civil unrest is another reason for Black women to maintain a friendly, cordial relationship. Hey. Civil unrest. Civil unrest is another reason for Black women to maintain a friendly or cordial relationship with a man or men groups, because in a time of distress, women need protection, both physically and emotionally, or both physical and emotional. Despite all of the big talk about independence, if there is a war outside our door, women need a man inside to fight. Despite all the big talk about independence, if there is a war outside our door, women need a man inside to fight. If there is limited food and water, women need men to help fend for them and protect whatsoever they have. Men handle tools better and are physically stronger. Areas in distress where services are suspended and buses aren't running create safety problems the longer these services are unavailable. Some will get on the road to seek a better location. During these times, vans or trucks is better transportation. Not your hoodoo, not your slab on them swingers, them 30-inch rims. That shit ain't gonna work. Note, some information is repeated because repeat means everything. And we seem to learn better when we read or hear something more than once. Come on, man, chill out. Let's slow down a bit. The first pages were designed to shift your brain into the unpredictable direction, leaning towards basic and possible primitive use of survival techniques. The purpose of this text is not to scare people into action, but to remind us that due to evil being practiced daily across the nation, a government expected to be corrupt, the failing dollar, let that help. Unemployed millions, and the general dissatisfaction among our brethren, and based on similar circumstances historically, things are going to implode and explode at the same time soon. Huh? Scientists have explained their reasoning. The stock market analysts say financial collision is approaching, and every kind of soothsayer, including Nostradamus, has commenced to describe how the world is ending, including the Bible. Including the Bible. The Most High God told you these things was coming. Yeah, he told you these things was coming, so you might as well get ready. Hey, move. Go get in the bed. Matter of fact, y'all go get in the bed. Go get in the bed. It is bedtime. Don't come back here again. Go get in the bed. It's been past your bedtime. It's past your bedtime. Good night. Good night, son. Hey, come here. Come give me a hug. Good night. All right. Daddy love you. This world way of life, as we know it, is coming upon a change. It already has. It already has. It already has. Scientists have explained their reasoning. The stock market analysts say financial collision is approaching, and every kind of soothsayer, including Nostradamus, have commenced to describe how the world is ending, including the Bible. This way of life, or this world way of life, as we know it, is coming upon a change. This book suggests we get ready for hard times, not the end of time. Every civilization has a beginning a time of discovery, enthusiasm of growth, a peak of success, and then the slow decline based on the process used to build a civilization being torn down by the savage class who worship the filth of a beast life. Before it arrives, take stock in where you live. Study your location and determine if you are in a place which you can barricade, board up, fence up to isolate yourself against the dangers of possible break-ins or fire. It is extremely profitable, or it is entirely probable that a few days after this thing hits, when your neighbors or people in the community get hungry, they are going to go door to door looking for food or money or people they know. And your house or apartment building may be attacked or set afire. Be sure your smoke alarms are working with extra battery. Find out where your local parks or campgrounds are. Check out the location of the zoo, highway rest stops, and community centers. Measure how far you are away from another spot and how long it will take you to get there. Of course, many of us will expect the city, state, or federal government to provide us with a place if we are run out of our homes for any reason. What did I tell you to do? Go. However, it will be wise to do your own investigation and consider where you might go if the government is not around to herd you like cattle into a place of their choice due to certain circumstances prevailing. Paying rent or your mortgage may be impossible. As a result of so many homeowners losing their homes during the Depression, from the entire nation literally being out of work, the government can now put a freeze on foreclosures and allow people to stay in their houses. However, also during the Depression, many renters were evicted for non-payment of rent. Whether or not you are allowed to stay in your apartment without paying rent will be determined by either the government or the building owner. If you're put out and if the phones are not working, you cannot call 911 or the fire department or a taxi. You have to go for self and find a place for yourself or commandeer a place for yourself that is vacant. This is an issue which should be discussed with the entire family, extended family, or close neighbors and friends to determine which options may be available to you. If you live on the 12th floor of an apartment building or on the ground floor in the house, it will be best if you barricade and bar your windows and doors as best you can. Form some kind of group committee to address these potential problems. Since we basically distrust each other, this is going to be very difficult to do. Since we basically distrust each other, this is going to be very difficult to do. But do it we must if we intend to survive. One family working alone will have a very hard time trying to make it. One family working alone will have a very hard time trying to make it. You need to have people around you who are on your side and willing to work as a team. People around you who are on your side and willing to work as a team. How many of us got that? How many of y'all got that right now? Even as, your wife, your husband, whoever. How many of y'all got that? How many of y'all got that, where you got somebody who can work as a team with you? Or how many people are you actually working as a team with yourself? You need to have people around you who are on your side and willing to work as a team. It is also a good idea to contact your church, your minister, the deacon board, and all the men on any religious or social organization you belong to. If you don't currently belong, join. You may have to squat in an abandoned house. At that time, your major interest will be shelter, not decor. If you have relatives down south or in the Midwest, it would be wise to pack up now and move to where they are to get out of the city, because the city will no doubt be a bloody battlefield of frustration, anger, robbery, ripoff, and hysteria. The local stores are frequent in your neighborhood. The local stores you frequent in your neighborhood will be plucked clean of any and all food of any kind faster than you can say what happened. Every speck of edible content will be gone after a week market. You best believe it. You better believe it. The price of gas is already starting to go up, and this is in 1999. This is in 1999. And the price of gas is going up now. The price of gas is already starting to go up and will become liquid gold and hard to get. It will systematically be rationed. Even if you have a car, you will probably only be able to drive as far as a tank of gas will take you. Some will try this method of escaping the city, and at the last minute of the opening, if the opening occurs. The idea that armed groups of scavengers will vacate the city and travel to far suburbs or mountains or other isolated spots may not happen. It will take a lot of inspiration to drive as far as a tank of gas will take you. Walk on foot the rest of the way, probably in sneakers, traveling over hill and dale, looking for houses and families to rob. Plus, if a bunch of people get the same idea, the highways will be jammed with traffic, breakdowns, and wrecks from the panic. Additionally, anyone who has the scruples to get out of the city to avoid danger will no doubt be prepared to defend their turf and food. Pray for snow. Of course, there is also the possibility that the feds will close down the highways, expressways, and turnpikes in order to maintain some semblance of order and set boundaries. The main roads will be used strictly for military. If you plan to escape the city, try traveling on country roads. Get a map of your location and study the highway and road systems. Shit. I got one, but it's a Texas map. I need to get a Louisiana map. That's why my boys are always looking at that atlas. Many people don't even do that. You're not going to stop in a gas station and get a atlas or a road map. They don't do that stuff no more. A lot of people don't do that stuff. Get a map of your location and study the highway and road systems. We must have a plan because white people do not want us guys on our own. Man. The time to try to get our own is right now, while we still have a short chance of getting supplies on our own. Why do you think all these shows like The Walking Dead and stuff like that, they show you what you're gonna have to do when SHTF happened, or when the shit hit the fan? They show you what you need to do or what you're gonna have to go through. And a lot of people not prepared for stuff like that, man. You so used to your washing machines and your microwaves, your electric stove, your gas stove. You don't know how to fish, clean your food, kill your food, clean it, cook it. You don't know how to do none of that. There are people who are arming themselves with guns and rifles to keep you from stealing their survival goods. The people who don't prepare, both blacks and white, will be the greatest threat to us all, and roving bands of thugs and ordinary family folks will be out on the prowl looking for food. People will turn on each other and behave like savages to get what they need. This is to be expected. People will turn on each other and behave like savages to get what they need. This is to be expected. It is a normal course of human behavior in any societal breakdown, such as war, famine, or flood, earthquake, or riot when police are not around. The fallout due to the technological breakdown of the computer system, which keeps America going, falls into this category. This information is not intended to frighten you, but it is intended to inform you of the general hazards you can anticipate in the city, the urban world. Gather all your legal paperwork. Organize the following information for each person in the family. Let's see what they are. Birth certificates, shot records for children, report cards, baptism records, marriage license, deeds, titles, insurance, credit cards, loans, mortgages, payment booklets, tax returns, W-2s, diplomas, certificates, passports that are rearranged so that you have a lot of extra room for you and your family. You may get stuck in the house for extended periods of time, depending on what's going on outside, and everybody needs space to keep from getting on each other's nerves. This is called cabin fever. Resist the cabin fever. It is also wise to place an emergency suitcase near the door, a to-go bag, near the door. Filled with basic necessities for your family, such as clothing, important papers, money, small snacks, and a first aid kit, so that if you are forced to leave your apartment in a hurry, you can grab it on the way out the door to keep you from being left with nothing. We are the people who love to gamble and take risks. So many of us will not believe that the problem is as drastic as predicted. Some do not want to face this kind of reality. They do not want their life disrupted. There are so many expensive, they have so many expensive material things, or they have a good job and a fancy car and just can't handle the threat that it could all come to an abrupt end. So they will procrastinate, disbelieve, shrug it off, laugh, or decide that there's no point in doing anything. But don't be frightened into the state of no action or become overwhelmed at the situation. This is no time to freeze up and sit around inactive waiting on the whole thing to blow over. If others don't believe, there's no you can prepare yourself. If others don't believe, there's nothing you can do but continue to prepare yourself. For what if some don't believe? For what if some don't believe? Have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? If others don't believe, there is nothing you can do but continue to prepare yourself. And don't tell disbelievers what you're doing or how much food stock you have. When things go wrong in America or on a national scale affecting several cities, our government now has Homeland Security to fight and stop terrorism. A title suggesting that if we live in the homeland, we will be secure. To follow up on this theory of securing the public welfare, they also have the Patriot Act. Ooh-wee. They define this organization as allowing American law enforcement sweeping authority to monitor electronic communications, sneaking warrants and other provisions to our emails, Facebook info, Instagrams, Twitter accounts, etc. Let me read it again. They have complete access to our emails, Facebook info, Instagrams, Twitter accounts, etc. This includes phone calls, faxes, medical, financial, and other private transactions, including your immigration status. They have already gained notoriety for capturing criminals who break the law and then go online showing the loot and bragging about what they did. They have been tricked into using smartphone as a confession booth, and we report sometimes our personal minute-by-minute activities for the entire world to see. Mm-hmm. We show little concern about our post becoming public information, possibly tapped by employees of USA Patriot Act. We are addicted to the iPhone and cell phone capabilities. Incidentally, the Patriot Act is a law enacted by the U.S. government that was signed by President George W. Bush on 10/26/2001. What's 10? It's October. Yeah, October 26, 2001. Public law, public law pub.l.107-56 if anybody want to look it up. In response to the 9/11 attacks, the acronym stands for Uniting and Strengthening America by Providing Appropriate Tools Required to Intercept and Obstruct Terrorism Attack, or to obstruct Terrorism Act. They are independent of the Homeland Security Agency, but they all support each other. They are also involved in the handling of local protests or uprising by American citizens unhappy with the way justice is metered out unequally when charging blacks and other minorities with legal infractions. And when the problem escalates to civil unrest, marching, or rioting, we will be the first to be detained, arrested, and accosted for any minor reasons. Now, since this organization specializes on tracking actions and movements, it is better to pay for all your survival foods and products with cash whenever possible. That's why they're trying to see what you do with your money. That's why they're trying to track all your money, boy. That's why they're trying to track all your money. Ooh, woo. We're almost there. And when the problems escalate to civil unrest, marching or rioting, we will be the first to be detained, or arrested, and accosted for any minor reason. Now, since this organization specializes on tracking actions and movements, it is better to pay for all your survival foods and products with cash whenever possible. No paper trail. No paper trail. All traceable. Let's see. Food distribution, electric, gas, and water utilities. Telecommunications, transportation like subways, cars, and airlines. Manufacturing control systems, banking services, and stock market. National defense operation. That's why you should have the banking services. That's why you should keep cash. That's why you should keep cash. Let me go back up so I can reread it again for YouTube. They are also involved in the handling of local protests and uprisings by American citizens unhappy with the way justice is metered out unequally when charging blacks and other minorities with legal infractions. And when a problem escalates to civil unrest, marching, or rioting, we will be the first to be detained, arrested, and accosted for any minor reason. Now, since this organization specializes in tracking actions and movements, it is better to pay for all your survival foods and products with cash whenever possible. When things get crazy, we will have to live without these services, which are all traceable: food distribution, electric, gas and water utilities, telecommunications, transportations like subways, cars, and airlines, manufacturing control systems, banking systems, and stock market. Get your money out the bank. Get your money out the bank. So always keep you some cash on you, baby. Keep you some cash, gold and silver. Something that's tangible. So if the dollar don't worth nothing, you still got something that's worth something. National defense operations, security systems, nuclear reactors and weapons, gasoline dispersal, business data processing, hospitals, thermostats, beepers, cell phones, cable, ATMs, lotteries, jail cells, elevators, access cards, and pawn shops. Getting out and leaving for good. Other Americans know and suspect that we are dissatisfied with our conditions of living here in America, and they are quick to recommend, if you don't like it here, then go back to Africa. If you don't like it here, then go back to Africa. I've heard that shit so many times. I've heard that shit so many times. It's understandable since we are always mouthing about Africa being the motherland and our homeland, so it's not unreasonable for us to have a special place in our hearts for the African continent. One of the ways to pay homage to our motherland is to refer to ourselves as African Americans. Africans don't refer to us this way, but this is what most of us call ourselves. In the past several years, those of us who can afford to have established a dual citizenship between America and Africa and established residences there and taken their children and families to the motherland, the African continent, my bad. Other Americans know and suspect that we are dissatisfied with our conditions of living here in America. And they are quick to recommend, if you don't like it here, then go back to Africa. It's understandable since we are always mouthing about Africa being the motherland and our homeland. So it's not unreasonable for us to have a special place in our hearts for the African continent. One of the ways to pay homage to our homeland is to refer to ourselves as African Americans. Africans don't refer to us this way, but this is what most of us call ourselves. In the past several years, those of us who can afford to have established a dual citizenship between America and Africa and established residences there and taken their children and families to the motherland. The African continent is generally not presented to us in a good light. Ever since the white people came up with their fictional idea about Tarzan, they gave Africa a bad rep by implying that some white dude went to Africa and learned more about it than the inhabitants who have resided there for millions, maybe trillions of years. Christian television shows flaunt pictures of our ancestors starving, eating dirt, raggedy, and doing bad. This suggests that we don't know how to feed ourselves unless the white missionaries show us the way and convert us to Christianity. The African continent is the richest piece of land on earth. It has been proven that all life started there, and it's an historical fact that all standards and practices of civilization started there, created by original Black people. These genius ideas were not discovered in Europe. As most of us were taught in public schools, so we do have the right to go back if we choose. Africa is made up of over 50 countries and is 3 times as large as the United States. There are innumerable languages, governments, cultural traits, community systems, and regulations according to tribe. The African continent is not all victimized by famine, genocide, or discontent. If you plan to go there to avoid the hell that's soon to take place, here you have to do some major research. Escaping hell is hard. What do they call America? Hell. Escaping hell is hard. You need to examine your situation, age, income, skills, and so forth, because no country wants criminals, vagrants, savage or broke visitors. Choose the location you are interested in and proceed. Start with www.state.gov and travel.state.gov. They have information about traveling and living in every country on the planet. They are all worth a look. Also, www.firstgov/topic/americansabroad.shtml. And World Factbook will educate you further. It's not impossible, but takes a lot of preparation. Needless to say, the internet is filled with info on foreign countries. Canada is included. Bye. So that's chapter 1. That is chapter 1. Man. You need to go to the potty? Okay, Daddy just got finished reading. Daddy gonna come put you on the potty, all right? All right, head to the front. All right, that was chapter 1. Chapter 1 of Miss Shahrazad Ali's book, Urban Survival for the Years to Come. Urban Survival for the Years to Come. That was chapter 1. Man, there's a lot of good stuff in there. A lot of good stuff. And I hope y'all can take something from it and learn and grow. Learn and grow from it. We'll come back tomorrow with chapter 2. I'm going to do chapter 2 early. I'm going to do chapter 2 early. Since I'm back on both Facebook and YouTube, we'll go ahead and do both. Chapter 2 early. We'll try to do chapter 2 and chapter 3 tomorrow. We're going to try to get in and out of this book. Chapter 2 is going to be food and what to eat. Food and what to eat. So, man, I hope y'all took something from it. I hope y'all got something from it. We'll keep pushing on. Think on the stuff that, whoever watched this, man, or listen to it, think on the stuff that you're hearing. What do you have ready and available? Because hard times have come and harder times are going to continue to come. Are you prepared for it? Have you thought about some of the things that was spoken of in this book? And if not, start to think on them. See what you have available. Is your place cluttered with all the bullshit? Stuff you don't need? Is it organized? Do you have food, water, first aid, just in case for little things like tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, let alone a collapse of society? I hope that the lockdowns have got people in a better mindset to where they can think on these things or have been thinking on these things. And while you have the opportunity to go to the stores now, man, you better get what you can while you can. Because that might not last long either. That might not last too long either. They could shut this thing down again at any time. And are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to be in your house for 6 months to a year? Are you prepared to be staying where you at for another 6 months to a year? That is the question. That is a question. But man, hey, thank you everybody for who checked me out. Reading with SHILO. The Urban Survival for the Years to Come by Shahrazad Ali. And we'll come back with chapter 2 tomorrow. Shalom. SHILO out. I'm coming.